Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to try to cover what the man in the wall was saying. So I tried to listen to my own audio recording of this. It was pretty much indecipherable. I tried to play it backwards, indecipherable. I tried to slow it down, indecipherable. I just couldn't make heads or tails of it at all, like anything being said. But going by what some of the people in my comments have said, some people said it kind of sounds like he's saying Voom and Zata at some point. I didn't know if what they were interpreting was true or not, but I had nothing else to go on. So I had to go look up what each of them meant, because I had forgotten. I know, one of them is decay, one of them is time, and stuff like this, but I didn't remember which was which, so I'm gonna show you what they are now, and what he possibly said. If this theory is correct, that is. So while looking this up in the Warframe Wikia to find out what each word meant, there's actually a theory on the page. I'm not sure if it's true because I don't know who wrote it or what's the credibility. But on the page it says that he specifically says a few words, and I'm going to tell you what they meant and what it means in a second. So kudos to the people on my comments who have said that he possibly said Zata and Voom, because if this is true, then he actually did. And I didn't figure that out, you guys did. Well, bear with me here, but he says Ku ris Zata Voom Kar Lok. Which at face value would translate to light, truth, order, time, void. But I don't take things at face value, so there always has to be a deeper meaning, because why the hell would DE put this in the game? So let's go down the rabbit hole and try to figure out why he's saying this. So I'm gonna play with a few theories here. And my first thought is that this is a spoiler, like DE is basically telling us what's coming up next, if we can decipher it. But you gotta remember in the Necrolist that they actually have a little story about these, so let's go down that first, see what the story would look like if we play it in this order.
Ris, light. The senselessness of it, the paradoxic, the vague, untimed form. I was alone, but not, for I stood there confronted by myself, a twin but no brother, a reflection but with dimension. Behind him, no horizon, but a vast broiling sea of caustic light pierced at random by black pin stars. And closer, around me, a gale of flowing vapor, profane in color, billowing relentlessly into the nascent lack, seeking all directions. I was standing on a precipice of familiar stone, jagged and unanchored as though cleaved directly from the very floor of my laboratory. I wondered at the vapor's path, smoking outward more, leaving behind now the walls, the filigree gold, the rare cuts of marble from my home. I knew at once the vapor's source. I turned away, back toward the wall, the trapezoid I had yawed into it. Vapor erupted inward at the gap, but not just from there. For as I rolled my eyes back, I saw the same. A great steam of scintillation smoking out from my skull. Dumb in awe, I faced toward my chimerical twin. He spoke. Zata. Truth. It began long before us. We who now live our perfect and dull, endless lives. It began long before these moon palaces and body markets hurling around our golden sun. It began long before our light coil thinkers, our radiation wars, our oil, smoke. It began with us, the continuity and its twin, wanderlust. The need for unseen shores deep in our marrow. No judge, jester, queen, or king can escape this old blood. We are nomads, eternal. And when no ocean, mountain, or sky could contain us, our gaze hungered starward. Afar, they mocked us with their brittle light, winking and jeering like dangling iotons, forever out of reach. illuminating the truth. Immortal as we are, we die with the sun. That's where I come in. Vom, order. The calipers yawed open the wall between worlds, stretching there a black trapezoidal gap. A door, a mouth. It yawned in the light of the room, splintering it to mesmerizing, unearthly hues. And I, inside the bell, dropping obliquely toward it from my gallows. Mass and time rippled as a sudden vortex jawed before me. My head was vapor, my feet lodestone. The bell around me flexed like a rat paralyzed in a winding, gulping snake. I faltered in the awe of it, stumbling against the ceraglass, and with that shifted the bell's path through the wall. It grazed the caliper membrane, the edge of the door. No worldly edge was as thin, as sharp as could split even light. As the bell faintly grazed it, the ceraglass was all at once rendered like strips of flesh by Dax's blade. My enclosure was beheaded in an instant, but still, I fell, sideways, into the void. Kra, time. An old name, unspoken in the centuries since my mother reared me. A soft hiss, soothing as a viper's gaze. Little Bengal. The other me reached out, offering his hand, gliding toward me without moving, as though the distance between us was now collapsing. A confusion, most euphoric, filled my mind. With the shred of wit that remained, I decided that I should run for my life. At once, crazed and frantic, I fled. But I made no forward progress. Instead, the world compressed evermore around me, as though I were an anchor pulling the shore to reach. When I arrived at the door, or rather, the door arrived at me, I howled, hurling myself inside, out. And then and there I was, lost and unlost, howling on the floor in harmony with my wretched Kalimos, lacerated in flesh and heart, scattered as the bell glass, spilling blood and stomach on the cold stone floor. But I sensed the other there, at the wall's breach behind me, reaching still. I screamed, but my voice was gone. Forever. I looked, but my eyes would never see again. I swept my fist across the floor, snatching broken shards, and in gripping tightly, I filled my hands with ink. Close it, I wrote. Loc. Void. From brooding gulfs are we beheld by that which bears no name. Its heralds are the stars it fells, the sky and earth aflame. Corporeal laws are unwrit as suns and love retreat. To cosmic madness, laws submit, though stalwart minds entreat. In luminous space, blackened stars they gaze, accuse, deny. Roiling, moaning, this realm of ours in madness lost shall die. Carrion hordes trill their profane accord with eldritch plans. To cosmic forms from tangent planes, we end as we began.
And then obviously, because I played too many Tomb Raiders in my life, I expected something to open up or happen. But nothing happened, so don't bother trying. So another possibility would have to be the Requiems, so let me just put the order of them up here. I'm horrible at reading. I normally sound like a robot, but let me give it a shot for you guys. Okay. Through endless faces, countless forms, a multitude unfolds. In luminous space, blackened stars, they gaze, accuse, deny. Its heralds are the stars it fells, the sky, the earth, aflame. To cosmic madness, laws submit, through stalwart minds entreat. To cosmic forms, form tangent planes, we end as we begin. From brooding gulfs are we beheld, which that bears no name. So before I started actually reading this and looking into this, I kind of assumed there was going to be a spell or, you know, some kind of incantation, but it actually is, it looks to be a prophecy. And even the looks of the Requiems, this looks like the cut marble that they were talking about in the story, in the necrolis. Now looking back after knowing this, that story kind of makes a little bit more sense. I kind of see some of that stuff. It did unfold. It's not a perfect one for one, but it's kind of like Battlestar Galactica, where everything that happened before would happen again. So that story from the necrolis, by the order of which we put them in this video, it pretty much is the same story repeating for us. So what happened to that guy pretty much happened to us, with a few little differences. One being is the Tenno was born, the light came into being. But besides that, the man in the wall taking our face, the void being all around us, that's one for one mimicking the first story, as well as our origin. So it's a good start. It's the beginning. The second part may be talking about the destruction of the Oregon. The whole time that the Ballas was doing what he was doing, they were talking about like they're revealing the truth to people and stuff like that. And the end of the story, it's basically describing the end of a civilization, like the end of the Oregon, which happened. It happened here, that the last of the true Oregon died in the sun, just like the story says. And with the followed by the entrance of the speaker from the second story, which would be the man in the wall making his appearance. The third story, it's pretty much word for word how the door opened in all its glory. How does this have anything to do with order is beyond me. But besides that, it's pretty much matching up with the third story. As for the fourth one, it either hasn't happened yet, or because we already went in the void, it happened differently, because his events in the story don't mirror ours. Like, it mirrored what happened to us before. Last time we were in the void, we did run into ourselves and stuff like that. It wasn't a bad ending like his was, where he basically he lost his vision and all this stuff. But also, we didn't get sucked into the void that time, so maybe that's why it happened differently. As for the last one, perhaps is the very paradox, I'm not sure. Followed by the end of all things, as it's the apocalypse. I'm just joking. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. This is just all of this is new to me, because I didn't actually know it was going to be a prophecy until I started making the video. But even if I'm wrong as to what each part means and what has transpired yet and what hasn't, it's irrelevant, because I am certain that this is a prophecy. This is not just like some incoherent message or some poem or something. This is straight up a prophecy right here. Look at it. Like, I know it's kind of like, it sounds like gibberish to some people. It may be undecipherable, but this looks exactly like a prophecy would look like. And I doubt the man in the wall would have wasted his time just saying random words that have no meaning at the end of the day. I doubt he would be telling us a story or giving us a poem or singing us a song. I don't know. I don't believe this is what he's doing. I literally think this is a prophecy, and that's why he's laughing his ass off. He's like, there's nothing you can do about this. Everything is playing out the way I predicted, or the way it was going to, and you can't stop it. So it may be years before any of this comes into fruition, but I want to know now, guys. I want to know now. So I don't know, let's work together. Write in the comments, give me your ideas if you have ideas. Like, let's try to piece this shit together. I know I am personally gonna like rewatch my own video like a million times and try to figure this out, because I want to know.